It's a fantastic time to be with your favorite people for weekend enlightenment, entertainment, education, information. We opened the conversation yesterday talking about things that happened last year, how we unveiled the year, how it wrapped up. We continue with that conversation today. Yesterday, we had the opportunity to speak with the president of the Nigerian Medical Association and the president of Dr. Innocent Uja. We also spoke with Senator Magnus Abbey. We spoke expansively. We talked about Medicare, vaccine. We talked about security. We talked about food. We talked about the citizens, talked about our role, our responsiveness, and our responsibility today. It's great to have your company with us as we take a look, an overview that is, on 2020. Different issues will be talked about. Stay.
The year 2020 came with lots of expectations and high dreams, only to be cut short with the novel coronavirus that brought the world to its knees. And just when some Nigerians thought the virus would have expired on 31st December 2020, a new variant of the coronavirus was discovered.
2020 was a very interesting year. The world did not see it coming. The world was caught almost totally unprepared. In Nigeria, the first thing we noticed was that we did not even have isolation centers in the whole country. A country of 200 million people did not have isolation centers for a pandemic, not even for an epidemic. In spite of the, can I say, the lessons we should have learned from the Ebola regime, we did not make any plans for any epidemic, much less a pandemic. So when it hit Nigeria, the first thing we realized was that Nigeria was not even prepared for taking tests. What we see fundamentally, we have a healthcare system failure in the land. It was after the disease had taken root, or the virus had taken root, that we started running up trying to put temporary structures and convert certain buildings. I mean, even governors and members of the legislature who are taken to some of the makeshift places left because we had nothing. It's a big indictment on our healthcare sector and structure.
In 2020, the economy of Nigeria shrank from 3.6% in the third quarter, following a 6.1% plunge in the previous period. It marked the second recession in the country in 4 years, amid decline in global oil prices and lingering effect of the restrictions implemented across the country in early second quarter in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
For 4 years, notable economists in the country had been advising, cautioning us that Nigeria is going without a savings. What is going to happen if something happens to us in this country, if an emergency turns up? We didn't have it. And now we are spending so much money just to pay back on the interests of our debts, not even the principals. So economically, we're not too viable even to access the loans that we need for the country, for development. What will solve recession is productivity. If your people cannot be productive because the structure for doing that and the environment for doing that is so hostile, then you're just going to be having serial recession.
While President Muhammadu Buhari is credited with quick action that led to the release of the Kankara schoolboys in Katsina State from their abductors, many are criticizing the government's response to the deepening insecurity in the country and failure of the government to protect citizens from insurgency as well as banditry and kidnapping.
This is the same country that is called the giant of Africa, that has gone to Somalia, has gone to Congo, has gone to Liberia, has gone to Sierra Leone, has gone to Ivory Coast and proved its mettle anywhere in the world for peacekeeping and peace enforcement. And yet in our nation, we are unable to deal with terrorism and insecurity.
In June 2020, Nigeria declared a state of emergency on rape and sexual violence in all 36 states. This was triggered by the increasing rape cases in the country. For instance, Barakat Bello was raped and killed in her home. Vera Uwa Omozua was killed in her church in Benin, and a 12-year-old girl was raped by 11 men in Jigawa State.
The rape was a case of our values gone down. We must have a system, a social system on ground, that the moment something wrong is happening, when a girl notices she is being abused by anybody being trusted, teacher, pastor, imam, anything, you are to uncles, those are the people, cousins, it should be reported. And you know what? There must be put in place stringent measures. The society seems to excuse the perpetrators and punish the victims.
2020 was indeed a unique year. What does 2021 hold in stock for Nigeria and Nigerians?
Knowledge is light. As we enter into 2021, if ever you took steps and protocols before, double that protocol now. While we keep the COVID protocol, while we keep economic protocol, while we keep our moral protocols, anything can be turned around. And I know that God releases grace to us, that when we walk in the principles of cooperation and good values and best practices, even if there are challenges, we will find that in the end, we can turn out stronger, better, and greater.
Our focus on Weekend Deal today is a review of the year 2020. What were the success stories in 2020? What were the challenges and what areas do we need to improve upon?
Very detailed there, Francis Ogbe. Talking about the overview we just saw. Some harrowing gist of last year as well. But this year, we're talking about overcoming. We're talking about standing stronger. There's a saying that goes that the past doesn't mind if you can get excited about the future. But what is important is that you need to latch on or to utilize experiences from the past to create a better future. And that's our focus here today, to bring a bit to the fore what happened last year so that we can leapfrog on that and create and package and work towards a better future for us all. We're going to NTA Maiduguri at this time, and they will be taking us through the challenges of insecurity that we encountered in 2020.
Year's end is neither an end nor a beginning, but a going on, with all the wisdom that experience can instill in us. The year 2020 has been an eventful year, ranging from security challenges, COVID-19 pandemic, and high cost of living, among others, have affected not only Borno State, but almost all the parts of the country.
The setback, I can tell you that is globally acclaimed, was what really happened along Auno, Njimtilo axis of the extermination of travelers, which was so sad and so unwelcome. The other one was the recent one of the beheading of these 40-something farmers, the attacks across local communities, attacks across the urban centers of kidnapping and abduction were security irritants within which our security forces were responding, but it's not enough, that they have to reorganize and revisit the strategy.
Despite the challenges, a lot have been achieved in so many aspects in Borno State.
Ensured that fleeing Boko Haram elements did not join as guards. Then going to the Agro Rangers activities, since the establishment of Agro Rangers and the commissioning at the local level by His Excellency in 2019, honestly, the rate at which farmers were kidnapped, killed, and farmlands reduced drastically. The other issue has to do with diversion of petroleum products into the bush, which will eventually find their way into the hands of the insurgents. Then frequent vandalization of public utilities were reduced to the barest minimum in 2020 because of the activities of civil defense.
Cheers to a new year, another chance for us to get it right. And with the measures put in place by different arms of the government, how then is the year 2021 will look like?
Everybody knows about the circumstances in Borno, that is about the insurgency, ongoing insurgency. And there are too many successes about the issues. In tandem with the security cooperation, we have had successive clearances from certain communities for the relocation and resettlement of our IDPs. So most of our IDPs had voluntarily returned to their original places of abode with the support of the state government in keeping them particularly at least on their life-sustaining issues and other means of livelihoods. And then we have having successes from the side of our security operatives, particularly the military and the police, for cooperating with the state government. And there are too many constructions of roads and drainages across the state. And most importantly, the state throughout the year has been able to pay the claims of the state civil service or state public service, the local government, state civil service, teachers and others, and they were even trying to pay up the excesses areas of our pensioners and those that have already retired.
The year 2021 shall be a year of abundance and fulfillment, a year of continuous peace, unity and progress in Borno State and Nigeria as a whole.
Thank you from our sisters and friends and colleagues in Borno State. We applaud your courage, your tenacity. We also see the inroads that the government is making. We must also continue to encourage and commend Nigeria's strong security agencies who go out from dawn to dusk to protect citizens in every state, every nook and cranny of this country. We pray that in 2021, we will do better and record a lot more successes. And at this time, we move to NTA Kano. A lot happened in Kano State in the year 2020. And it's those things that we'll be sharing with us on Weekend Deal today.
The year 2020 has come and gone, but one thing remains certain, that the year has gone down into the pages of history as one of the most devastating periods in the history of mankind. Coronavirus pandemic, which started around December 2019 in the Chinese city of Wuhan, gradually and speedily spread all over the world, sparing no continent and no human race.
2020, I'm 71 years old. I can tell you the few people who are older than me who told me that they had never seen anything like that. If you listen to the media, most especially the BBC, the CNN, Al Jazeera, and so on, they will tell you that the pandemic, coronavirus, has affected not only human relationships who are kept in our housing for 6 months or more, but more importantly, it has affected the international economy, world economy. I was just listening this morning that in some analysis, financial analysis, the economy of the US has been worse hit in the last 300 years, what happened this year for the West?
In Nigeria, like many other countries of the world, the health and socio-economic impact of the pandemic was unbearable.
2019 as well as 2020 came up with so many challenges, particularly that of corona that has rendered or deterred many activities, especially those who are into buying and selling or into those who are into trading activities. They really suffer a lot.
2020 is a year that will stay in the memory of many Nigerians, not only Nigerians but all over the world, because if you look at the way and manner in which the coronavirus pandemic has crippled the economy of the world, it's certainly going to live for a very, very long time in the memory of many people.
The intensity of the virus and its glaring threat to human life forced the authorities at all levels to introduce mandatory protective measures, which culminated into 7-month total lockdown of the country. And this further worsened the already difficult situation.
It affects me seriously because I have got to go out every day to find for my livelihood. I'm not a salary earner. That is the way it has affected me, like numerous, about 90% of Nigerians are in Kano.
Situation is bad because we are not familiar with this thing. The thing is hard to us because, like me, I was just 37 years, but I never see anything that just stopping me going out for my business, for my anything.
In Kano, a lot has happened during the outgoing year 2020. And although coronavirus pandemic dominated and continued to dominate public discourse, one cardinal event that 2020 will be remembered for, especially by the people of Kano, is the dethronement of Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II by the Kano state government and the enthronement of Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero as the 15th Emir of Kano.
If you are partisan, of course you are in danger. The second reason during the political time is if you tell the truth to power, politicians don't like to be told the truth. That's unfortunate. They are there for the people. They should listen to people who are educated, enlightened, and they give them advice. So this is one of the reasons. If you tell them the truth, they don't like it, they move. That's why some of the problems you see facing the country today. I mean, traditional institutions are very good, and if you're hoping, you are not uneducated. In fact, we have the best categories of people. Every single discipline we have, you come to our institution, you have military people, police people, business people, academics, everything we have.
Although the dethronement of Emir Sanusi has generated mixed reaction among people of Kano and indeed the general public, one thing remains clear. It is not an uncommon happening, and the tie between members of the Dabo lineage is still strong.
Those who became emirs since Dabo, who left about 1850 something, were his descendants. So they are talking about the same thing. When Muhammad Sanusi was leaving, what did he tell us? The new emir coming is like you. Just like you, then follow him, like the same.
We in Kano, not only in Kano, everywhere where there is a traditional institution, we are just the same. Remember that Muhammad Sanusi II is a nephew to the present emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero. And don't forget that now presently the Kano is being divided into 5 emirates exactly. 3 emirates, they don't have any blood relationship with the Kano emirate. But the Bichi and the Kano, we have blood relationship. So all this thing, when you turn it and turn it all over, it comes to just one.
That was quite detailed. Many thanks, NTA Kano. We talked about the happenings there, which also entailed us in the exit of the Emir Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, and a new Emir was installed. Let's welcome our guest, Engineer Umar Binder. He has asked me to roll the R. I hope I rolled this successfully. Let me not roll it into 2022. Well, he's a friend of the house. He's an academic. That's a member of the academia. He's a civil servant and he's a political technocrat. And he expatiates further to say he's worked with political actors and politicians, but on his own, he's working as a patriot. Great to have you join us on Weekend Deal today.
Thank you very much. It's
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to
You
you,
look very
to everybody.
refreshed and relaxed.
I know. This year is my year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
What a fantastic way to look at 2021. And I'm sure that is the hope and aspiration for every Nigerian, indeed, to catapult themselves in this new year to greater heights and larger successes.
I hope so.
Yes, indeed. It can be so, especially if we take off getting some knowledge about how to make that happen or areas to look inwards into to achieve that as soon as possible. Sometimes when the year starts, we say things like, my new year, let me not say new year aspiration. But in these days, we don't wait as the year starts. We ought to take off, right? And today is early days yet.
Yep. You see, Nigeria is a fantastically great country. And I remain to be very, very optimistic about this country. A country with a population of 200 million people. Majority of that population are young, English-speaking, highly entrepreneurial, but impatient to get to the next level so quickly. And
is impatience a negative?
Well, impatience can be. It's like the law of conservation of energy. You cannot create energy, you cannot destroy it, but you can change its forms. So that is how youthful energy is. So you can decide to utilize that impatience positively, or you can utilize that impatience negatively. I tell you, I'll just give you a very quick a scenario. We are 200 million people. I studied a bit of my academic adventure in the United Kingdom. And it is their standard, whether you are British or not. If you come at that time, they'll give you 2 bottles of milk free of charge. And you wake up in the morning, you open your door, there are these 2 bottles, and you bring it in, then you wash it, you put it back, they'll come and take the bottles. Why? Because milk is a conventional food for everybody, from a kid until you die. It doesn't poison you. And supply of this milk is actually an index of development. If you are able to provide milk to your people, it's an indication that you have arrived. Now just imagine if Nigeria arrives there. 200 million people. Let's not say 2 bottles. Let's just say a glass worth 200 naira, or let's say even 100 naira. 1 glass per Nigerian, 200 million glasses.
On the daily?
Daily. At 100 naira. So if you take the 100 and the million is 100 million, right? Then you have the 200. You put it is a 20 billion naira industry per day. In 10 days.
Are you suggesting that I start supplying milk?
I think you should. In 10 days is 200 billion. In a month is 600 billion. In 10 months is 6 trillion. The president just assented to a budget of 13 trillion. So if you put 1 glass 200, automatically the whole budget of Nigeria is not even enough to buy 1 glass of milk per Nigerian. This is an opportunity.
For the entire.
Where does milk come from? From cows. We have cows. I'm a full animal. What does cows eat to provide milk? Grass. We have grasses all over the place. So what is the missing link? To the extent that Nigeria has turned this opportunity to cows, and people who look after cows are dangerous. The people who are farmers producing cow food are dangerous. And we just destroy
the opportunity. Vulnerable. They're not dangerous, they're vulnerable.
Well, if two people are fighting, they are both vulnerable, So what I'm trying to say is that look at opportunities. What do you need to provide this milk? You need to ensure that you breed cows very well. You need to make sure that you feed them very well. You need to make sure that you look after their health very well. And certainly, A cow that is producing that kind of milk with a big udder cannot move 10 meters. So with cows moving up and down, it is a clear indication that you are neither producing milk nor producing meat in a tactful manner. So Nigerian youth should understand that opportunities like that are everywhere. And therefore, 2021 should mark a turning point on when you, like they say, is it open your eye or whatever?
Shine your
eye and then see these opportunities and get on with it.
There's little doubt that in this 2021, we'll begin to see more of that never say die attitude that is typical of the Nigerian. And it's very heartening to hear this from you on this day. In fact, I'm already inspired. As the Grand Mufti of Adamawa, you are well versed in our traditional norms and cultures, especially that from the northern part of Nigeria. We just saw a package about from Kano, where we saw the Emir Lamido Sanusi at the time, earlier last year, being dethroned to a point he had to leave the state and a new Emir was installed. Tell us about that. Does it, how is it going to impact our traditional schools and institutions?
Well, you see, the traditional system is a system that is very stable. Stable in the sense that it is not like the political system where you have a 4-year turning circle. This is, if my father was a king, chances are that I will become a king. Chances are that my child will be a king, and that is it. And you stay until either you are tired or you are dead or whatever. So it has no period of time that you stay. Now, particularly in the north, and I'm sure in the south too, is like that. The hierarchy of the traditional system is that you have an emir. He is right at the top. I have not seen any president or any governor or any senator or a House of Reps member or a local government chairman or a ward councillor who just runs to politics without going to have some consultations with their traditional leaders. I have not seen that in this country. It means that institution is very important. It's grassroots oriented. When they speak, people listen. Now, after that emir, below him, you have the district heads, many of them. For example, in Adamawa State, we have 8 first class. And below that 8, we have 104 district heads. And below those district heads, who help the emir to look after district, unique areas, below them you have the Dakashis or the Majimillas, who are the village heads. And they have, in Adamawa, we have 718 of them, right at the bottom there. And then below them, at the last lap, you have the ward heads, who are the Mayangwas. In Adamawa, we have 7,814 of them. Now, a Mayangwa at the bottom knows everybody by name in his own Angwa, in his own territory. So tell me, this is a leader. How can this dangerous person anywhere comes to settle in that community, start selling Indian hemp or tramadol or raping children, and the Mayangwa does not know? It's not possible. So when you look at this structure, when it comes to security, when it comes to social development, when it comes to project implementation, when it comes to anything.
So are we capitalizing on
this? Is now the issue.
This structure that you're talking about?
This is now the issue. The issue is, do you know, if you sink into the Nigerian constitution, you will not see the clear role of the traditional system. They have no clear budget. They have no clear funding. They have no clear roles in terms of governance. And that needs to happen. Unless you have the Mayangwas and the ward councillors overlapping to look at their own territory politically and traditionally, and then you have the House of Reps, the senators working with all the traditional leaders, and then you utilize the modern way.
Talking
the
about
technology.
working in unison.
Yes. You use technology. Every emir is supposed to have a coordinating state-of-the-art kind of
communication structure.
Yes, it's a room
that
where
should filter down.
Then every Mayangwa should report every day. Was there a rape in my area? Did somebody die here? Was somebody murdered? Was there any arson? Was a child molested? Every single day. And these papers go up to the Mayangwas and to the Majimillas, the village heads. And until every week, the emir gets what has happened. And the whole thing goes to the governor through the secretary to the government. And therefore, every day, whatever happens, you see it digitally.
Nothing is hidden.
A situation room has to be set up in the emir.
Nothing
Then
is
you put a
hidden.
qualified chap who is IT oriented. You put all these pads, should be everywhere. And I'm telling you, before you know, you find that the traditional system supplements the natural leadership
That is the
politically.
role.
And before you know, before anything happens, before any cow moves to eat anybody's rice, before anybody kills a child, you will know. You will see a flash. All the
what
you know. So this is how I see the role of the traditional system, and we need to review it with modernity so that we can be able to take advantage of what we is able to provide.
That's interesting, and I'm sure if that can be spread all over the country, we will see fantastic results. But you worked in government at the time. You were SSG in Adamawa State. How were you able to share this among your fellow SSGs and let this idea go around the nation?
Well, actually, you see, that is why I told you initially I'm an academic. The good thing with an academic is that we are evidence-based, we're factual, we like documents, we like numbers. And then I became civil servant. I professed in policy making, in meetings, in deceiving.
So you shared these ideas with other people?
You deceive or convince leadership on good things, you know what I mean? And then I became a technocrat in politics. I'm sitting there seeing how politicians work. So in Adamawa State, what we did was first, we documented these structures. We knew every emir, every district head, by name. We know their telephone numbers. We knew their account numbers. We knew everything. And then we now put it with the political structure. We knew every ward councillor by name, by telephone number, through to every local government. So we put these two, and then we generated traditions of meeting, consultations. And I'm telling you, when we started in 2015, there was bombing, people were exploding, running away. In less than 8 months, the whole of these very primitive insecurity died away because we subjected the system to communication, we subjected the system to technology, we coordinated people to respect each other through information. And we tried to spread it through first of all, the APC governors, northern governors, but you know, sometimes there's too many to be done.
It may not have been as far-reaching as we
but
had
we're
hoped,
still on it.
But we're still on. Actually, in this new year, we'll do more. You mentioned that you are an academic. That's a member of the academia. And you know what happened most of last year? The facilitators of knowledge in our tertiary institutions were at home, and so the students were at home. In fact, we can say that education at tertiary level was grounded in Nigeria last year. Let's see this package and we'll come back, and perhaps you can share some knowledge and some ideas on the way forward.
The year 2020 was the year academic institutions in Nigeria recorded the longest strike in Nigeria history. The 9-month strike started with a 2-week warning strike on the 9th of March 2020 to protest the non-payment of salaries to lecturers that were not registered under the federal government Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, IPPIS, arguing that the payment system does not take into consideration the special ways the university operates. Claims by the ASU in regards to the strike also centered largely on funding and revitalization of Nigeria's public universities, as well as certain earned allowance, which it claimed to be in an arrears of 92 billion naira. Despite several meetings by both the federal government and ASU leadership on ways to end strike, no headway was made as the strike lingered on. What are the lessons learned from the 9-month strike?
If you say lesson learned, that means that we should not have a repeat of, the fact that you could say for 1 year, because if you are calculating academic calendar, you would have lost 2 semesters. That means that we lost 1 year, Now, was there a lesson? Should the lesson be on the part of ASU or universities? I think the lesson learned should be, practically speaking, on the part of government. What is it that we have lost? For us, yes, people have lost graduating students, teaching students, supervising students, doing their personal research. Laboratories were shut down, practically speaking, you could say. I mean, since students were not on ground to carry out experiments. And even the individual researchers' experiments, I mean, you wouldn't be able to carry full-time research.
What are the issues that ASU was actually asking for? I mean, funding of education. How should that actually be something that the government will allow some of people to go on strike for 9 months for? I mean, is it in other climes, you don't really tell government to come and actually discharge its responsibility. They know that's why they are there. That is what government and governance is all about. But when you are, I mean, because you see, to me, you see, it is who feels it actually knows it better. And that is why I'm thinking that, of course, we should actually pass a bill that will actually deter those who want to rule us from having their own children schooling abroad. Because that is why they don't really care what obtains here.
The impact of the strike, no doubt, on students, businesses, around schools' campus cannot be quantified, as it has far-reaching consequences on their livelihood.
It has really affected in so many ways, because as a businesswoman, we don't rely on government or federal government to pay for us at the end of the month. It is what you realize per day that you base your spending on. So due to the strike, it has also really affected us so many ways, because it is what you have for the day that you'll be able to spend or base your spending on.
It has caused a lot, because we've been preparing for this exam for the past 5 months, and the thing is, we are still hoping to sit for it. We don't even know the exact day right now. People are the vibe is not there to read again. The vibe to engage in studying and so on, because we don't even know the exact day of sitting for this exam of ours.
We already live in times where your degree is no longer enough for you. So people are trying to gather different skills and qualifications here and there. But the problem is with ASU strike, you never know when they can just call you back to school. So there's even a limit to things you can engage in. There's a limit to extracurriculars you can pursue. So I feel like it's just a very mentally draining limbo that students are stuck in. They can't go forward, they can't go backward. They're just waiting and crossing their hands. And that takes a lot of time.
The union, however, at a meeting on Wednesday, 23rd of December 2020, following consultation with the National Executive Council, NEC agreed to suspend the 9-month strike after they reached an agreement with the federal government on the following: that payments of lecturers' salaries from February to June be made through the old platform, that is, the Government Integrated and Financial Management Information System, that they are exempted from the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS, pending the approval of their proposed payment system, the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. That the federal government also pledged to pay 40 billion as earned allowances and 30 billion for revitalization of the university system, bringing the total payment to 70 billion naira. The federal government finally agreed to settle the arrears of salaries of lecturers before December 31st, 2020. It is, however, not certain if we won't experience another strike from ASU in 2021 if the federal government fails to maintain its own end of the agreement reached with ASU. The reopening of schools now lies with the federal government and state government, owing to the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic.
You're watching Weekend Deal. We just saw a package that focused on ASU, our students at tertiary institutions, and it reached us from NTA Ibadan. Very expansive. Most of the information there have become familiar for many Nigerians. They've been on the dailies, been in the news. We've seen meetings being held between the federal government and the lecturers, between the Ministry for Labor, the ministers, and the lecturers as well. And at so many times, we thought headway had been made. But eventually, the year ended with some good news, I can say. Yeah. 2021 is here.
Yep.
As students, should they get ready to pack their bags? Well, what are the chances that the tertiary institutions will open as and at when finally due?
Well, my You see, I was part of this system, and my opinion about polytechnics, universities, colleges of education, all these tertiary institutions operating in our country is, I realized that they should operate like industries. And the output of an industry, when it is successful, is good products. And your good products will literally sell. That is the value chain. So what does a university produce? A university produces graduates. And when that product is good, meaning graduates are good, it means the functioning, the products, the workings, the wealth creation, the political environment, the moral, everything will just start getting better. So now, if you look at our country at the end, our poverty is terrible. We are importing so many things. Most Nigerians are not happy. Why? It's because these factories are not functioning as well as they should.
Factories, you mean the schools?
The universities, the factories producing this critical mass of people who should salvage this country, all of us. So now, then you move into the university. You see, for me, all these issues that you see happening with our universities, ASU, EPs, and so on and so forth, are not the real issue. Go inside and find out.
What is the real issue?
The real issue is that we as a country should recognize that the era we are in now is era of technology. We should ensure that all our universities, all our polytechnics operate the high-tech courses and teaching at the 70% point and probably the others at 30% if we want to survive. Secondly, a good university in America, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, is similar to University of Ibadan or University of Maiduguri. Why? Because if you go to a university in America, you'll see a nice gate too, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. You come to University of Ibadan, you see University of Ibadan. So they are balanced. Yeah. You move in, you see lecture theaters.
That's where
they are there.
Yes.
Then you got it. They have professors, we have professors. We have students, they have students. But then, at the end of the day, when you ask MIT, how much money are you getting back from the world and from the society in America based on your product of knowledge and high quality output? They will start telling you how many billions or trillions of dollars they are getting. Ask Ibadan, ask ABU, ask Maiduguri, how much are you getting? They probably will tell you that we're waiting for government budget. This now is the big question.
How can they circumvent that?
The issue
is that
now
having a negative impact
first,
on
yes,
the growth of the institution?
Yes. First, these institutions must transform from being schools for teaching into excellent facilities for research and experimentation. They must convert to become institutions that must sell their quality products to survive. They must become tools for government, for partnership nationally or internationally. They must be able to ensure that their output shakes everything up, you know. And this is not a big deal. All these complaints is because that is not happening. When that is happening, you will find that the students graduating out of these institutions become students of high morale. They are very creative and innovative and entrepreneurial. They become students that are cosmopolitan in nature. They like discussing issues for progress. They like networking. They like visiting each other rather than what we see, you know, fisted fighting against each other.
But can I come in here, Dr. Binde? Being a member of the academia, some will say you are stating the obvious.
Yes.
But you are a member of this body that has not produced these students like you are telling us they ought to be.
Yes.
That is not producing institutions, just like what you're saying.
Yes.
So who is going to come and change it?
The issue is, it starts from policy. You see, we have the structures. Nigeria has the National University Commission. Nigeria has Ministry of Education at various levels. And we must understand that unless we see these things holistically, and I'll give you just one example to explain this. When I was young, people like Professor Jibril Amin, Professor Iya Abubakar, and the Professor Makanjola, and so on and so forth. These people, they're schooled in the same place. There was nothing like when you hear University of Ibadan or ABU and so on, you feel like this is a regional university. They were international institutions. everybody could go everywhere. They create their network till today is working. They call each other. Whenever there's a big time, you see it. But now, gradually, we undermine this tool of progress. Now, when you go to University of Ibadan, over 90% of the teachers and students put together are all Yoruba speaking. You see what I'm... So we lost that cosmopolitan. You go to the same thing in Ahmadu Bello University. You go to the same thing in Usuka. Now, once you do this for young people between the ages of 20 to 25, you've already planted this regionality, this language separation, this so on and so forth. You are now
but
on
not
track
planted deliberately, though.
Yeah, no, but you know what to do. Make them cosmopolitan. If I were to control a vice chancellor, if I were a state governor and my vice chancellor, I will tell him that you must be able to make sure that this university is cosmopolitan. Get out. We see MIT professors coming to Nigeria. They go to Lagos. They come to Abuja. They go to Usuka, shopping for first classes. They take our best out to Nigeria, and then we start complaining, oh, our best stuff. This is what you need
but
to do.
This is 2021, and things are going to change, hopefully.
Yes, now I think so. I think we are realizing that unless we shine our eye again, things will not be. Young people need scholarships. Young professors in the universities, they need housing. They need internet connectivity. Electricity should be available. Their laboratories should be good. The technology will come out. Young people will want peace so that the Igbo chap that has graduated from Lagos can move to Sokoto to take advantage of the red leather.
Of what is happening
and so on
over
and so.
there.
So I think 2021 should be probably chapter 2 of this next level progress.
Most definitely. On a final note, the budget has been passed. As the 2021 budget, and people are thinking about leapfrogging, accelerating progress. What ought to be our expectations, and how do we support governance and government in taking Nigeria to that next level that you have spoken of?
I think there are 4 levels. First, the political leadership must be sharp. They have demonstrated that they can budget by end of December and flag off a budget by January. Then the next is now the economic leadership. We must now be able to utilize this budget, not just to swallow it. We must utilize it to create more wealth. The 13 trillion should become 26 trillion, should become 39 trillion. Then the third level is moral. We should reduce these unnecessary distractions. Stealing money, undermining government, not doing the right thing. When you are assigned, you don't do the assignment
We
very
should
well.
be the change we want to see.
Exactly. And then, technically, we must learn to be efficient. When you have budgeted 100 naira to buy soap, please use 100 naira to buy soap. Don't use 20 naira to buy a bad soap and pocket 80 naira. So these are the things that we have to do jointly. We are the people who elected a president and a vice president. We are the people who elected 36 governors and 36 deputy governors. We are the people who elected 109 senators. We elected 360 House of Reps, and so on and so forth. We should be able to support these people that we elect to be able to drive us. The campaigns and the elections are party sensitive. But once you sit on the chair, you become for everybody. Leaders should recognize that too, so that you don't sit on the chair and you are still doing PDP or APC and so on and so forth. That way, we follow well, and
one for
hopefully
all
we
and
can
all
follow
for
well.
one.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Umar Bender. It's been great speaking with you as always.
Thank you very much.
Very enlightening, very excited and enthusiastic about our great nation, Nigeria. Little wonder you are a political technocrat.
But Nigeria should remember,
here
there's social distance. All the windows are open. Use your mask and ensure that you sanitize. This is the way to help our leaders and help ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And stop the spread of COVID-19. Fantastic. What a great way to sign our conversation off. We look forward to chatting with you again. You're watching Weekend Deal. We'll take a break now. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. watching Weekend Deal. It's great to have your company on the program. Some of our friends went ahead. That's what you usually say when people demise. And from all over the world, we're going to be remembering friends who demised in 2020.
Virtual survival, poverty, and hunger unbearably behold our daily bread line. Notwithstanding, times are uncertain amid the mess, trouble, and misery of the year 2020, its trials and tribulations. Through the year, our worries came from miles away, face to face with the reality of life. A chime of uncertainty looms. Here we are, hopes not lost. This trembling grasp of life. In retrospect, the memory lingers. Tears stream down our mountain of grief. Thousands of lives glow and wither with tears gone with the wind of disparity and darkness. Many times, many ways, in deep memories, 2021 we cradle.
We remember our dear friends, brothers and sisters who have gone before. This is not the entire picture world over. We captured a few. The essences, for those of us who are still here, we need to step into the large shoes that our friends who have gone before left and continue to make indelible prints and make the most impact on those who look up to us. Because someone somewhere is looking at you as a beacon of hope. We are never too old or even too young to set new goals, exciting aspirations, and to do all it takes to succeed at them. Be always at war with your vices, at peace with your neighbors, and let each new year find you a better man. So says Benjamin Franklin. Why in this 2021, it's not too early to set after your goals and aspirations, apply wisdom, understanding, patience, tolerance for each other. Let's all be kind to ourselves and to one another. Continue to watch Weekend Deal. Enjoy our programs on NTA. 2021 is going to be great and successful, especially with you supporting us all the way. My name is Thelma Obaza. Have a super fantastic week and ensure your face mask, wash your hands often, go about with your hand sanitizers, maintain social and physical distancing. Together, we can kick out COVID-19. God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.